It is the most wonderful time of the year, everyone. We have a full boat show. We have Robert. Hello, Robert. How are you?
Good. How are you, man?
Fantastic.
So great to see everybody.
Fantastic. I am good. And Santino, we got
I'm
Santino
wonderful.
here. How are you?
I'm doing great. I got the holiday spirit. I'm ready for this.
Rocking the Tiger Woods. He was back. He looked good.
He's back. Charlie's better though. Anyways.
And speaking of back, he's back. Mr. Gregory O'Connor. Here he is. Hello, Gregory.
Good to be back. Good to be back with you.
We missed you last time, but you are here. So since it is the end of the year, we are wrapping up. No one else is podcasting. No one else is video casting right now. Everyone's on break, but we are here because we need to talk about our games of the year.
Yes, sir.
So we just had a huge year. A lot of delays, but the year of delays, let's call it that. Yep. But there was very, very good games that came out. Next year, we got a huge list of AAA titles, but this year was not too shabby, even though it was the COVID year. So, Santino, do you want to start it off with your...
Oh, man, I have to start it off with so we're doing a top three, ladies and gentlemen, of our games. Some of us have honorable mentions. Unlike two of the guys here, I didn't get to play as many of these wonderful story games and indie games and so on games that came out this year. I think my number 3 game, I'm going to go least to highest, obviously.
Cyberpunk's going to make the list, right?
Oh, I want to re-download it. I don't know why, but I'm not going to do it.
Is that this year now, right?
No, I think that was summer of 2020.
It would have, according to Game Awards, it would have counted for Keeley's thing,
okay, so
but not for 21.
Anyways, yeah. I'm going to put Scarlet Nexus as my number 3 game. I really enjoyed that game story-wise. It was more of like I was randomly searching for something to play. I was binge watching anime because I was bored of games, and they were like, "There's a game for this." Really in-depth story. There's 2 parts of it, 2 different sides of the story that you get to play. So it can be like a 30-hour game, which can be a little long. It's kind of like that Last of Us situation where you meet in the middle to end of the 2 stories, but they're both very different, especially combat-wise, which is what makes it really great. Like you don't feel like you're doing the same thing twice. So that was my number 3. I'm having a hard time between my 2 and 1. My 2.
Wait. I thought we were all doing 3.
I thought we were doing 3.
We're just doing 3 and going around. Go ahead. My bad. Good call, Greg. Go ahead. Rob, what's your 3?
Oh, you already know the fucking vibes. Your boy, his inner child has been speaking this year. You know what I'm saying? Number 3 goes to Mario Party Superstars. You know what I'm saying? It's so good. Let me tell you the story.
Oh, here we
about
go.
A young boy.
Here we go.
A young boy who loved Mario Party. Whole life, born in it, molded by it. And I gotta say, Mario Party peaked in the GameCube. Really, like I don't care what anyone says. You know what I'm saying? It's been a long time since we got a truly excellent Mario Party. Super Mario Party for Switch, it's all right. It's okay. But it's got this like feeling to it. It's a little childish. You know what I'm saying? Like Mario Party.
It's like, oh shit, what is this?
Mario Party Superstars, old levels, N64 boards, 100 plus old mini games. I've played like 3 rounds. It's probably been the most fun I've had with Mario Party since GameCube Mario Parties. It makes me feel like the series can live again. I feel like it'd be fire if they'd added like GameCube maps as DLC, but it's Nintendo, so they won't. But it's a pleasant surprise. I enjoy it a lot, and it is my number 3.
Beautiful.
Excellent.
All right, since I jumped the gun, I'll go. My number 3 is
this man came ready. He's got a slideshow.
Artful Escape was an indie game going from Annapurna, I think, was the studio. This game hit me at the perfect time because it was pretty short. Under 8 hours, for sure. Basically, you just have to hold right, so it was easy to play while holding the baby. But it was a ton of fun. It was like the coolest art in any video game I've played this year. The story was like pretty crazy. The music was like Bob Dylan. There was some like space rock type sci-fi rock with like Rush. style music-ish. It was just like a really cool game that I don't think a lot of people played, and it was like the perfect length. And even longer, and it would have got repetitive. Just enough gameplay to keep it interesting, so it's not a complete walking simulator. And while you walk, you can like strum a guitar and play music.
That's
and you don't have
dope.
to at all, but like you just want to, because like it makes the songs, like you're just building the song as you go along. It's really cool. Check it out. It's on Game Pass. Really.
What's it called again,
like
Greg?
Easy. The Artful Escape.
Okay.
And we'll save our honorable mentions to last. So
let's do that last.
All right,
Mr. Amit.
All right. I know Greg played this and he wasn't feeling it, but my number 3, I really enjoyed Forbidden City. I thought it was for a game. I was looking for a very story-driven game, and that's all this is. All you do is walk around and talk to people, trying to solve the mystery of why you are in this city. And I guess it started as what? It's a
Skyrim mod?
Yeah, it's a Skyrim mod that they made this game, and it's a really, really small team that made it, and I just really liked it. It has a few different endings. On my first try, I got the main ending because that's just the path that I followed got me there, and I was just so into the story that I just wanted to try to get every task done. So I got to the end, and the end is just like mind-blowing. And I'm totally into it because it, like, in terms of like different mythologies, it crosses a lot, like Egyptian and Roman and Greek. It was just really excellent. I enjoyed it, and it was super fast. I think it was like 8 to 10 hours. So that's
not bad.
Totally my wheelhouse. So that's my number 3 for this year. And on Game Pass.
And on Game Pass, there you go. Look at this game. Well, I'm going to throw another Game Pass on there for my number 2. Number 2, not in regards to its campaign, because I haven't finished the campaign yet. I'm going to be honest with you. My top 3, I haven't finished the campaign in all of them, but from where I'm at, I loved all of them, and they're the ones that stick out the most for me.
Oh no, I don't know what this is.
You'll know my number 1. You don't know this one. And like Rob, this game has restored the gaming feeling for me. I can't go to sleep without thinking about it. I can't stop playing it for hours, and it makes me just feel like I'm 13 again playing on an Xbox. Halo Infinite multiplayer, for what it is right now, I feel like it could be limitless, and just there's so much more that could be
infinite. Oh my god!
Yeah. Every time I bring it, I don't want to use the term infinite on this. Every time I bring it up, somebody has to hit me there. The multiplayer just feels so good. I get there's so much stuff that isn't there that we've gotten in original Halos, and I even have complained about that already. But from what I've played, from the hours, I'm looking at my Steam right now. I've played over 40 hours of it. I just can't stop playing it. Like I've been playing Battlefield with friends, but I'm like, okay, I'm done with this. I want to play Halo. I just want to play Halo. So Halo Infinite on Game Pass, obviously. The campaign is kind of iffy with me. This is a conversation for another time. I'm enjoying it. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I know Rob hasn't played it yet, the campaign yet, so we're not going to say anything about it. But it's Halo. It gives you the best of both worlds. But the multiplayer, I love it.
Well, and remember, it is 2 different packages, right? Like the campaign and the multiplayer. So they are kind of 2 different games. So absolutely, if you enjoy
story games and you enjoy the Halo campaigns, it's a new thing, and maybe it's for you, and you'll have fun with it. If you enjoy the multiplayer of Halo, you're gonna love it. It feels like old Halo. And if you enjoy both, well, you're good. You got everything you want there. So that's my number 2.
Yeah, that just missed my list. It could probably fall under an honorable mention. I'll just talk about it now since we're on it. But like, the multiplayer would definitely be on there. I kind of counted them as 1. I think the campaign just misses it for me. Yeah. So it doesn't make the list, but I totally get having it up there for multiplayer alone, because it's the best since 3 for sure.
38.5 hours total I've played of Halo Infinite on Steam. And I have some hours on my Game Pass one. So I'm probably at 45 hours. Just multiplayer.
It's so good.
That's fire.
Go ahead, Robert.
Just to add to Halo, it feels good. It feels really good. I think it's just like fun. Like, I think like the craziest thing about it is like, I'm very like I don't like to play games by myself. So like a lot
I'm
of
having
times
so
when
much
I
fun
am,
playing
I'm
it
just
alone.
kind of
Though.
like. That's what I was just about to get into. Like, so like
Yeah.
I was like a lot of times when I play games, I'm just kind of just like mindlessly staring at it. But like Halo is one of those games that for whatever reason I just can't help but like laugh at it while like I'm playing
Yeah.
it. Like,
yeah.
whether it's bad things happening to me or me doing bad things to other people, I'm just cracking up. I'm just like, Jesus Christ, what's happening?
Yeah.
It's like it's magical. It's special.
Magical is the word. Yep.
My number two, my number two, I'm going to give it to this game, not even necessarily because of the game itself, but I guess the context in which I played it, or experienced it. I'm going to give it to Resident Evil Village.
Oh, wow. I did not expect that.
Shout out Lady D.
Okay, sir.
Shout out the ACC. Me and a group of friends played it. Like, we like marathoned it. We did it like the whole story in one day. And I think that probably adds to my feelings about it. Like, when I think about my games of the year, it's kind of the stuff that stuck with me. So when I was like trying to think of games that I like think back on, I think about that day where we all like marathoned that whole story. And I think 7 is definitely better, but I just had a really good time with it.
By the way,
I'm so sorry. There's this
right?
There's this part with this like fucking big ass fetus thing, and it's like this shit of nightmares, bro. Like the whole game is way more action focused, but that section of the game is so good, and it's like so tense. And like I wasn't manning the sticks at that point, but I just remember standing there like, oh my god, like just freaking the fuck out because like it was like an insta kill type deal.
I can't play Resident Evil alone.
Thing, and it's like first person, and it's just like it's probably the most tension I've ever felt in a video game, and I wish there was more of that in the whole game.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget that moment in it, and that day with that group or whatever is definitely a highlight of my year. So I'll give it the number 2 spot.
I'm really glad I could have been a part of that.
So sorry, bro.
All right.
Next time.
All right, Greg, number 2. Let's move on. Greg would never let me
down. My number 2, I got 2 games on Black Friday. One of them, they both stuck with, I was thinking about them more after I beat them. One got better in my head, and one got worse as time went on. So my number 2 is the game that has been consistently getting better after I played it.
I know which one.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, I see that. And me and Greg were really like not about this game when we saw the trailers the first time. We were off.
Watch our Xbox game. Yeah, watch our Xbox feeling right there, or it was during that.
It was when we got together. Yeah,
E3 day. Yeah, we were all like, ugh.
Yeah, like this game had no business being as good as it was. It didn't look good. It when it showed on trailers, but it was actually terrible. It was a ton of fun to play. It was like a great story. It was not an RPG. It was more like an Uncharted, but it's the only game that isn't an RPG that like had consequences to the choices you made. And the crazy thing is like you'd make a choice and you'd think for the first few hours of the game that it didn't make any impact.
Yeah.
And then you'd realize why certain things were happening later. And they do some really cool things like an early end credit scene if you make a certain choice. And there's just a lot of things going on in this game that like you didn't expect it to do. You thought it was just going to be a team beat 'em up. And it's like Guardians, you're expecting a 4-player game. Everything's becoming multiplayer. It's not. It's totally a single player game. Like the way they use the combat, it's not as good, but it's very Final Fantasy VII Remake like, where like you're controlling the actions of your team, but they're also fighting individually really well, where they don't feel like they're weighing you down or wasting space. Total surprise game. And
my only question, Greg, for you on this, was it anything like that Avengers game?
No,
nothing at all.
I mean, you are just being of a lot of enemies, but like it's constantly changing. Some
just
of the enemies
so much better though in regards to the comparisons, or was it too far off to compare?
I would say it's just much better overall.
Much better overall. Okay.
Greg, let me ask this question for you. How many hours did it take to run through?
It's pretty long.
Yeah. All right.
Maybe 20.
It's like I'm out.
I want to play 20. It, but that 20 hours is so long. I mean, for a straightforward, but for a linear game, but for a linear game, that's a long
It is a long linear game. You have a point.
You know, like an Uncharted, the longest Uncharted is what, like 12. 13 hours?
Well,
yeah, they could have cut some fat on, I think, but it's worth it. Like it is.
Especially if you're paying $25.
I was gonna say, how much did you pay for it on Black Friday?
Yeah.
25?
Yeah, like exactly. So
yeah, it's a W.
It's worth it. And I'll talk.
Game Pass.
I know the other game I got on Black Friday will be on other people's list, so I'll talk about why it's kind of slipped for me when we talk about that.
Okay, I'm kind of interested now. Okay,
that he'll have that conversation with me. My number two is Metroid Dread.
But is it as good as God of War?
Metroid Dread?
No, this is mine and Rob's running joke. It was a Twitter thing where they're comparing how Metroid Dread could never be as good as God of War.
Because they both are $60 or whatever.
Yes. Is it worth $60? That's what I should.
So dumb.
We're not doing that.
No, Metroid Dread. I haven't played a Metroid since Metroid Prime.
I've never played a Metroid.
I think the first Metroid game I played was on NES when I had it. I'll probably put it up there once I get it, but I never beat Metroid, the first one. I'm like 6 years old. I didn't know how to play that game. I just was jumping around as a ball, you know? And so Metroid Prime is probably like the first real Metroid game I played, like as I think it was like in high school, probably. So I kind of got that, but I never played the Prime sequel. So this is, as an adult, the second Metroid game I'm playing. And yeah, it's a continuation, but I felt that all the mechanics of the game, the Metro, I understand the Metroidvania aspect of it, where you're going back to the same locations, learning the levels. I thought the enemies were very excellently designed, and learning their attacks, learning their weaknesses. It was just really thrilling. I don't think I beat a boss under 5 times, right? Or I don't think I beat them. I died at least 5 to 10 times before I can beat one. Like that's how much I got into it. So I really, really enjoyed that game. The exploration of that, opening up the map, seeing little icons on there. I'm like, okay, if I go through there, I know I'm going to meet this like little guardian boss thing. So I have to like run my ass past that, or trying to find out where to go. It was really like thrilling and exhilarating. I wanted to throw the Switch so many times when I couldn't.
Not the OLED.
But I can't say anything negative about this game. I loved it from start to end. I think I put in about 10 hours. I think it took me to beat it. Oh wow, that's quick. Yeah, I thought it was really, really excellent. So number 2, my number 1. This would have been number 1 if I didn't play my number 1 game. So
yeah,
that's usually what number 2s are. But I actually totally agree with it. I mean, I totally forgot about this game when I was putting together my list. But yeah, that was
okay.
Wait.
Well, I hate that I'm on the up first for number 1s because this could either go.
Don't forget. But no, my third drug was great
shit
as
talks
well.
Back.
Yeah, everything Amit said was like dead on.
Dude, especially if you have an OLED, it took real advantage of like the bright colors, because there's a lot of dark colors, but there's a lot of bright popping colors in this game.
Great purchase, Rob.
It runs awesome. I think it's 60 FPS. It runs so smooth. The abilities are excellent. Everything is earned in that game, and I feel like it was my ending and my win was definitely earned, and I really appreciated that in that game.
Yeah, and then you look at like how to unlock the different like cover art things and how fast you have to beat it, and you realize that we were moving slow.
Yeah, I mean, there's speedrunners that are beating in like 3 hours or something like that, or even faster.
What?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Let's
speed runs.
Speedrunners are insane, yo.
Yeah, no, not me. That's not for me, man. My number 1, and Greg is going to know this. I don't know if he's going to agree with my number 1, but again, I've played
honorable mention for sure.
Okay, Greg hates all of our number 1s.
No.
He's gonna hate all of our number 1s.
No, he's not. He better not hate my number 1 because I think he really enjoyed this game, which was a surprise to me. Tales of Arise was my number 1 of 2021. I had never played a Tales game in the franchise, and I was in dire need of like a big long story game. and I was reading about it 2 weeks before it came out, and that was the story game that I could not put down, that I just kept playing through. And there's so much that I just skimmed past as well. There's so many different like crafting abilities to it, and power ups and weapons and clothing and that I probably missed. But story wise, like that game kept me hooked for a game I had zero expectations going into, and it was just pure like, this looks cool, I want to give it a try. I paid 60 some bucks for it or whatever I paid for it, and I was happy with it. I can't stress enough how fun the story was for me, and like how every like twist and turn of the game it had, and like it kept you on your toes for the most part. And like the main character's like story, and then the female character story on the right, like there was also so many like twists and turns to their stories and the growth of their characters, which is something like when you're watching an anime or a show, it's like you want to see growth in more than one character. And so that it kept you going towards the end. So Tales of Arise is definitely my number one. Check it out if you haven't.
Yeah, I the only reason it wasn't my top 3 is because the very final ending sections kind of lose it. But I totally agree.
Yeah,
it's great.
Robert, give me your numero.
Oh man, my number one game, a game that no one here liked at all, but I think is a special game regardless. Again, I say it, I don't have another graham cracker to bite into, but my inner child was speaking to me. Psychonauts 2 is fire, bro. I don't care what anyone says. Psychonauts 2 is that game.
So
Psychonauts 2 is solid.
That.
What I've learned in my life as I've like grown older is that I very much am like a product of when I was like a child, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
there was a point in time, 360 era, we're all dude bros, shooters only, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like in the last like 5 or so years, I've like re-established my love for platformers. Like, I didn't realize how much like those things are like in my core until like I went back and started playing them, and then played modern ones and new ones. And Psychonauts like really does that. Like, it just had a hook for me. And then like, it reminds me, like, I understand why people wouldn't like it, because as somebody who enjoys One Piece, I hear often that people can't get past an art style. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we brought One Piece in here. I'm getting fucked up. I can show some stuff. Anyways,
watch One Piece, if not read it.
Some people can't get past an art style. Psychonauts is not the prettiest fucking game. It reminds me of a early 2000s cartoon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's really like goofy and kind of gross looking, but like it's that way on purpose. And I think like for me, I think the reason that game sticks with me so much is that it's just like so damn creative. Like, just the way it implements certain concepts. Like there's this part where like you're like trying to help this dude, you're in his mind and stuff, and you're trying to like put this band together, right? But he's like he's getting like stage fright and getting nervous, and he's like having like panic attacks and shit. And so like this like creature that's all like super like this prism of color, and it's like so spiky and shaky, and it's like moving too fast for you to hit, and you have to use like a time mechanic to slow it down so you can defeat it and stuff. So he's like having these like panic attacks mid-level, which activates this like mini boss fight and shit. And you're like telling the character to like calm down and to breathe and to slow down and stuff. And you have to use that as a mechanic to like slow down the creature you're fighting. And it's just stuff like that throughout the whole game, with so many different like mental concepts and stuff like that. And I feel like the way it's implemented like is so accessible and so creative and so unique. And the story has a lot of heart when you get to it. It's just like all around like really great. The only thing is like, I do think some of the mechanics are like, I don't know if I'd say like dated, but there's like the way you like apply certain like weapons or abilities, like you only can hold like 4 at a time. So you have to like unselect and reselect.
Yeah,
and at the beginning, I fucking hated it. But once I like got used to it, it wasn't like, because certain enemies are more effective with certain effects, certain moves or whatever. So like, more times than not, you're not facing a bunch of variety, so you know what to equip at a time. But there's a couple times in the game where like there is a variety of enemies, so it's like frustrating to try to like fight them. But outside of that, I feel like it plays well. It's got a good story, a lot of heart, and just a lot of creativity all the way through. So much character.
Yeah, I played.
This speaks to me.
Yeah, I played maybe 5 or 6 hours of it, and just the messaging that they gave. There's one part where the whole moral of this one chapter was like, do not try to change who someone is because they are wired the way that they are. So you should not try to change it, and you should embrace that and work with them. And I thought it was like, oh, this is just good teachings going on, that everyone is different and treat them how they want to be treated. It was just excellent. I couldn't speak highly. Yeah, it was not on my list of top 5 or anything, and I haven't finished it, but yeah, the morals that they give you in that game are top notch.
Yeah, for sure. Super solid.
All right. Yeah, that's a blind spot I have. I gotta play that one. I gotta learn these morals on how to work with these Xbox fanboys.
It's on PlayStation.
I wasn't sure where he was going.
It's multi-plat. It's multi-plat.
Jesus.
Is it multi? Oh, it is.
Yeah,
but it's on Game Pass, so I would play it on Game Pass because it's best deal. All right. So now I'm moving on to the best time loop game of the year.
This man really brought pictures for everything. I fucking love it here.
Stay ready so you ain't got to get ready. He does this, yo.
Coming back. All right. So Returnal is my game of the year. It came out. This feels like forever ago now. But
March, right?
It was like March. April and March.
The beginning of the year.
But yeah, I mean, between this year and last year, it's been like a renaissance of this like time loop / roguelike genre, between Hades taking it by storm and this year with Forgotten City, Deathloop, Returnal. I feel like there's one I'm missing. Oh, like Inscription is kind of that way. For a bit, it's crazy how many of these games only came out, but 12 minutes, right? That's it. But like got popular. And Returnal, I think, just hits like the best of all of them in that it's challenging. Like, you definitely have a learning curve, but you get better as you get better. Not like as you start getting better weapons or you start stacking the deck against the bad guys. It's just you have to get a lot better, and you do. It's like fair. It's Housemarque taking all the stuff they did in arcade games like Resogun and just putting it in a 3D third-person shooter.
Yeah.
And it is just like the most beautiful game on PS5 with all the ray tracing and particle effects going on. The colors they use doing like bright neon purple, bright blues, orange. It's just nuts. It looks so good on the PS5. Also, I think it's the best use of the SSD on the PS5. I think Ratchet & Clank kind of let some of us down in that department. We thought it was going to be mind-blowing. It wasn't. This game uses it in just so much as being a fast loader, which is huge in a game where you're going to die a bunch. While it's loading, it brings you and shows you like kind of these like story pieces, even though it's just in half a second. It's these like flashes. It all ties into the story. It works really well. The game does some cool things with story, the way it tells it through, environmental pieces, just little different side areas that you're discovering as you're going through the game. Couple different endings as well, depending on if you get everything, not even everything, just certain important pieces. I think there's kind of, I'd say like 3 endings. One of them's ending kind of in the middle of the game. But it's really cool. It's a cool story. In a game that really has no business having a story at all. The gameplay alone makes it game of the year.
The more you talk about it, the more I'm ready to play it, because you've been so high on it since you played it, and as time went on, you would tell me each time, you're like, okay, it's on sale, go get it. So I think that's going to be the next PlayStation game I play. I'm still not done with Ratchet & Clank, and I've been playing PGA nonstop on my PS5. Like, it's gross.
Well, if that's your next PlayStation game, you got 2 months.
Yeah, that's the thing. No, I need to play that though. I've heard nothing but good things on that one, so I'm definitely going to check that one out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll save the honorable mentions, but yeah, that's the game of the year. And then, I don't know you've ever played it, right? I mean, you have it on your list.
I don't think
it's on my list. No, I haven't played it yet.
Okay. So not much discussion to be had, but
No,
we'll have
not,
some
not
for
yet.
meat.
Oh,
See,
soon.
before Meat goes, my problem with games with multiple endings, and Robert knows this. If there's any like decision making to go on in these games, I always end up with the worst ending the first time. So
it's not branching endings; they're linear. Good. If that makes sense.
Nothing like Until Dawn in Detroit, Becoming Human.
I can't. I played a little bit of it. A friend brought it over, and it was fun. I just like, and I learned this with Hades. Is like, I just take it really personal when I'm like doing well, and then I die and have to start over. I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore. Like,
yeah, no, it's very discouraging.
But people like get addicted to it. I've heard that Returnal has that hook to it. So,
Rob, that leads me into mine, because let me tell you about Deathloop then, because there is no wasted loop when you play Deathloop.
I can't believe that this is your number one. Like I
number
know
one.
It is.
I did not think it would be number one. I did not think it would be number one. It wasn't until people's previews of like the first 4 hours of the game where everyone had universal praise for this game. It started there, and I was not going to play it. I was going to wait for Deathloop to go onto Xbox next year when it was free. But the way everyone talked about it, I was like, all right, I have to play this game. Let me do it. I stopped playing Ghosts of Tsushima.
Also have not beat yet.
Yeah, I was like, let me play this game. I started up, and it could start to be overwhelming if you're not prepared for what's going on. But the game and Arcane, I think, did such a good job of being the right amount of hand-holdy for the right amount of time. So the right amount for the right amount of time. It was just, I understood what was happening. Yeah. The story kind of starts with you getting kicked in the face, and it just starts like, I was like, is this over? What the hell just happened? And then you start the loop and you get it. And the more you play, the more you study every time of day, the different amounts of enemies that are going to be present. I studied the actions of everybody as I played every day. So there's 4 times a day that you play. There's 4 different stages, and there's 4 parts of the island or the city or whatever you want to call it. And then there's 4 times of day. And in different parts of the day, in each part of the city, different things are happening. So as you play, you learn. And that was one of the best parts for me, is I remembered, all right, if I go down this alley, there's going to be 3 people here. If I go this way, there's going to be 10 people here. So I learned to each place's best route and how to take them out. And then so the next time I played it, I remembered. And the next time I played it and played it and played it and played it.
A big ass puzzle.
It was just, you can zoom through because you know exactly what's going to happen.
I don't know why, and sorry to cut you off of me.
No, you're good.
The thing I like came to my mind was you're describing the game, because I honestly know nothing about it. Is like Majora's Mask, or is it not even close?
Kind of, but because so what you're trying to do in the object of the game is you are trying to. There's these people that have powers called visionaries, and they have powers, and you're trying to take them out, all 8 of them, in one full day, right? Yeah. So if you die in a loop, you go back to the beginning, but they have mechanisms that you keep your weapons or you keep your abilities if you complete a loop. So like getting to the end of so if you start in the morning and you get to the end of the day, and you're not, you start back in the morning, but the game gives you objectives, so you can go through each part of the day and just be like, all right, I just want to check this thing off my checklist and how to get something done. Yeah. Where in Hades, you're trying to get this from beginning to end and then beat it in one loop. You can't beat this game in one loop, because what you do is every time you play a level at a certain time of day, you're just trying to gather information. Right. And the game, and instead of And the thing is, this game is not a game where you have to have a notebook and you're like, all right, I got to remember this. The game just, as soon as you do it, the game will let you remember. It'll
remind you, yeah.
Exactly. So if you get a code for a door, the code will auto-populate for you for that door the next time you see it.
Okay.
And so this game is more like a checklist game than anything, but the mechanics and getting the different weapons and little trinkets to make your guns better, that was really, really fun. I I know the knock on this game is going to be the ending was very quick and it ends and it kind of just sets up a sequel. I didn't mind that because I'm ready to play more of this game in a sequel. Yes, do I think it's short? Sure, but I like where they're going. And I just thought everything else in terms of like the dialogue and how the game played and shooters, and like it's a first person shooter. And I thought this game's first person shooter aspects were better than a lot of other games I've played since Halo. Yeah. If that makes sense.
No, I got you.
Yeah. So I talked a lot. I'm sorry. I just really enjoyed this.
That's your number one.
This is the game I thought about and I didn't want to stop playing. Like I was thinking about, man, I got to go to this place and do X, Y, and Z next time I start up the game. Like that's how much I thought about the game. And I just loved it.
I agree. Like while I was playing this, I felt the same way about it. It was a ton of fun to play. And the ending wasn't great, but that was fine with me. The thing is, like, as I thought about it more and it sat with me, it was almost like that learning part was really cool where you'd study and realize, okay, these 3 people are going to be here, so I know where they are this time of day. But then you start to like figure out where the visionaries are going to be, and you kind of knew where they were going, and you kind of started to put the puzzle together. And if you got there before you did all these certain steps, the game wouldn't let you just like go and take them all out and do it the way you're supposed to do it until you like hit all the objectives in their branch first. So in some way it was almost like it got too handholdy at some point, whereas like old Arcane, like a Dishonored and stuff was a little more like you had the freedom to figure out how to approach each of these sections of the map. So it was almost like it wanted you to feel like you had all this control, and I didn't really feel like I did at the end, which was kind of a drawback for me. It was like trying to disguise it as, and even that, you know, you choose the way, and there are some cool ways to kill the visionaries, but like you can't do that in the game winning run. They're just like trophies and achievements, like, oh, go kill them this way, like, which is really cool. And I just think like Hitman does that stuff better, where it's like, here's your target, you just kind of go figure it out, do some investigating, figure out how to kill them in interesting ways. Like this game gives you like 1 or 2 for each of the visionaries, but like usually they're not even ways you can actually succeed in the main run, which is kind of weird to me. Like it came so close to being like the 10 out of 10 and my game of the year. It's just almost, I think it did a little too much, and I think Arcane needed to do this, but to be more friendly to everybody, the people who weren't playing Dishonored, no matter how good it was, or Prey, like they just said like, hey, we need to make sure this is appealing and people aren't getting lost and all that, and they just missed on a few things keeping it from like my game of the year. But it's still a great game. I'm not saying Amit's game is bad. It was a great game.
And one thing that I thought was really, really cool about it is I played with Juliana. So Juliana is the main antagonist. I played with the internet on, so other people could invade my game as Juliana. So like that made the game really unpredictable because I was ready to put more hours into this game. So I let my thing be open so random people could take control of her and try to kill me.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and if you're offline, a computer will do it too.
Right,
but
it's more you can kind of remember when the computer would come though, and the way that they're going to attack. But when it's when it's an actual real live person doing it, it gets crazy. It gets wild.
Yeah, which can be unfortunate when you're like doing your final loop and you're at the castle, and it's just like.
You could turn it off if you want. I did turn it off for my last one because I was like, I'm ready for this game. So
I did as well, and then she came in as a computer still, but it just like ruins it because, or the worst is there's a trophy because I was trying to platinum, and I probably will still go back and do that. But there's a trophy where you have to like kill all 3 people at the party in silence and then get out. And like I did it, and I'm escaping, and she shows up, and then you can't get out in silence. It's like, okay. Like, this took a whole loop to get them all to that place.
Here's the thing: is Greg, I know that because I played so many different paths in that one level at night. In that part, I know where she will show up. I can get you to the path where she shows up, and you take her out first.
I mean, I feel like I know like what there's a good way to do it. Or you could just kind of hang out on the roof of the castle, and you'll like. It's kind of a bottleneck. We're getting into the strategy of this game, which we don't need to do.
But this is why the game's so good.
We're going to speed round our honorable mentions. Don't get too in depth with. I don't know how many everybody has.
Yeah.
I have one and only one. This has been my time killer game. You can have 10 honorable mentions. I'm just don't tell me how much you love it. My game that I've been playing to kill time when I don't want to play a shooter or when I just don't want to get into an in-depth story game. Forza Horizon 5 has been my honorable mention time killer game. Like I've put in so many hours and it's a racing game. You know what you're getting out of it, but Playground with their Forza Horizon games, they consistently do it well. It's the best of both worlds where there's some races that are realistic, some are sim, some are all realistic. Like you get the best of both worlds from it. And it's just such a great open world racing game that I just have a lot of fun with. So that is definitely my honorable mention. Robert?
I played a lot of duds this year. Yakuza came out last year, but it came out this year on PlayStation, so I'm going to count it. And it's kind of fire.
Greg?
All right, I got 3 honorable mentions. I'll keep them quick. Dodgeball Academia, Game Pass game. Check it out.
I forgot. Yes, sir.
Rob.
Fuck that shit.
Encryption PC, weirdest game of a long time.
And you recently played that, right?
I did. It was awesome. People are right. It is a great game. And my third one was why did I just miss it?
Row.
Oh yeah. Check out the Final Fantasy Pixel Remastered. Just jumped into those. Those are awesome.
There it is. Amit?
Sadly.
I got 2. Yeah, Halo Infinite. I'm actually really liking the campaign, so yeah. Halo Infinite and multiplayer has been really, really fun. Feels good. And then I played Death's Door just recently. I really, really enjoyed it. When I was playing it, my daughter was like, because you're a Raven with the sword, and she's like, "Hey, this is a game about Kylo Ren," and I was like, "Yeah, kind
of." Greg, do you have speed round questions, or was that our speed round?
Okay, I got one. What's the most disappointing game of the year, and why is it Back 4 Blood?
Oh God, that hurts. Back 4 Blood is a good one because everything you thought you were going to get out of Left 4 Dead, you did not get, and they tried to change Left 4 Dead and they made it worse. So I agree with Greg. Also, Battlefield, very disappointing. Fun with friends. We've been playing a lot, but from the content that you're given, you are bored with it within 2 days of playing it. Horrible. The way that game has been released is horrible.
Quick fire, most anticipated game coming out.
Rob, you can answer that one.
2022. All right.
Oh shit! I don't.
So many.
I don't even.
Answer.
Yeah. God of War.
Greg, answer yours.
Final Fantasy 16.
Robert. Okay, I'll answer mine. It's probably gonna be whatever Halo adds.
Let's get it.
I know. Amit's Elden Ring.
Oh, Elden Ring's a good one.
God of War.
Oh, wow, you said God of War.
Ragnarok.
Oh.
I mean, I know I'm wearing this shirt, but it is the Norse.
Okay.
Stuff going on.
And then
Senua Saga.
Will Starfield come out in 2022, and will this be our next Halo bet, Santino?
Yes, this will be our bet. You tell me what you think first, since I picked last time for the Halo bet.
I mean, probably not. No.
Okay, then it's coming out.
What?
The game's coming out. It's 100%
11/11.
They're not missing that date. They're not missing that date.
All right. That's all I got.
That was our speed round. Greg, it is wonderful to have you back. Rob, good to see you, and me, good to see you. That was our Game of the Year summary. You let us know what you guys played this year, what you guys enjoyed. Check out the other videos, like them, like this one, subscribe, and you know the vibes. We will be back for whatever our next idea is for a video. And Merry Christmas to everybody, and we will talk to you soon. Peace. Later, fellas.